Have a most blessed end of the month of May. I hope your long weekend was great. You got to spend some time with your family. It's a wonderful thing. I have been, the last several months, some of you remember these cards. I hand out these cards in church a while ago. And so I carry them around with me. And then what I do is I shuffle them just kind of randomly. And then I have a card for the month. So this is my card for the month of May. And now that May is coming to a conclusion, I thought I would share it with you. And then I have a new card, one that I haven't created yet for the month of June, for my transition from one church to another. Carry it with me here, and then carry it with me where I'm headed. But this one is for the month of May, and so when I go on my walks, it's in my back pocket usually, and I'm remembering it as I walk with people. I had a great walk with a family yesterday morning from the church. It was wonderful. One of the young fellows, he's 9, I think. I think the mom said he's 9. He put his hand out like this, and a cardinal landed in his hand, like right there. We were this close to it. It landed right in his hand, and then he sat down on the ground, and all these birds came and they were sitting around him. It's like Dr. Doolittle. It was awesome, awesome to see. So here's my verse for the month of May, and it's so appropriate. You know, these things are not accidents. When God does stuff like this, it's not accidents. It's a result of leading a disciplined life where you're in the scriptures, you're in the Word on a regular basis, and then it just rings true and it starts to make sense. So this is from a study we did years ago on 1st and 2nd Corinthians, a very troubled church, and Paul addresses each of the troubles that the church has in a variety of ways. And one of the troubles that this particular church, the church at Corinth, had was they were very grasping. They were very "it's mine" kind of church, holding on to things. They were very tight about holding on to things, and so they had developed this concept, a theology of scarcity, that there were not enough resources to accomplish what needed to be accomplished, and so they couldn't do it. They can't do it. And so what resources were available, they would grab them and hold on to them really, really tight. And so Paul has to address that. Corinth was the most troubled church. He writes 2 very long letters to them because they had a lot of trouble. And this is one of the reasons that they had a lot of trouble, is they were just very tight-fisted with everything that happened. And it shows a lack of faith and a lack of trust. And so this is from the second letter that he wrote. Now he writes the second letter and he says, I wish I didn't have to write this letter. And now you need to be careful because I'm going to come see you, and you need to discern whether or not you're going to change your attitude toward things, because I can either come in gentleness or in peace, or I can bring a whip with me. And I love that he's like that with the church. He's so honest with them. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 8, and it's a really great verse for Wesley and for the church I'm going to, for us to understand something about this not being the right attitude, that we have to trust that and let go and trust that there's an abundance available to us. And so this is 2 Corinthians 9, verse 8. God is able to make all grace abound to you, so that in all things and at all times, having everything that you need, you will abound in good works. Sometimes when things seem scarce, it seems like we don't have everything that we need, either as a person, sometimes as a church. Like, do we really have the leadership that we need to make this happen? And we wonder how things are going to happen now. And some of that is carrying of an image of the past into the future that needs to be changed. Sometimes we need to let go of the way we used to do things because we're a different church now. And Wesley's a different church now than it was even 5 years ago. Way different from what it was 11 years ago when I came. And so when we feel like we have a scarcity of resources, then we cling very tightly, even to the people who are leaders. But when we understand that there's an abundance, that we have everything that we need to do everything that God wants us to do and to even abound in it, then perhaps we should think about becoming what God wants us to be and not what we want to be. That's a big transition, because there are many traditions and many things that we love, many things that people have done for 30 years here at the church. And when the leadership gets scarce for some of those things, or the vision seems to wane, we tend to get tighter on it. And sometimes we might just need to let it go. But that's a good word. And here's the thing. Here's where I'm at with me personally. I have a certain way I like to do things. I have certain resources available for me, and I have a certain amount of intelligence and energy, and some of that's waning. I didn't know where my keys were this morning. It took me 20 minutes to find my keys. They were in the car. That's just, I can be like this about it, or I can say, okay, I need to figure out how to be good, how to trust, so that I can abound where I am today. The church too. We have to figure out how we can trust, become what we really are right now, so that we can abound in what God wants us to be here and now. And God's resources are already there. It's already evident here at Wesley that we have an abundance of resources here. We really do. Abundance of really wonderful people, and it may be that some of the people, it's time for them to get connected to the future. And it's time for some of the things that we hold tightly to, maybe to say goodbye to some of those things. Not all of them. I'm not like that. And there's no reason why some of the things that I love can't continue, provided I have the energy and the resources to continue them. So for me, I take this with me through the month of May. I have everything that I need to abound. Everything. I don't really need more to abound. And I would say that that's true of the church as well. Wesley, the church that I'm going to, we have everything that we need to abound, to do the work of God. And sometimes I need to get out of my own way so that I don't, and here's what happens to me. I don't know if it happens to the church or not. I used to be able to do things a certain way, and now I can't. And so I can either have an attitude of forcing myself to do things the way I used to do them, or abounding in where I am. It's a whole lot easier just to trust and abound, and then celebrate what God's doing. That's what I'm choosing. I'm choosing to trust and abound in the resources that God has available to me. I can still think. I can still deliver a message. I can still lead. And I'm happy with that. And I hope that you are too. I hope that God has a great day in mind for you. And remember this, wherever you are in your life, whatever you're facing, you have everything that you need to abound.